Hi, I'm Megan Powell of the Essex Bridge Center. Today's video is on the topic of counting losers. This is an important piece in Declare Play of the Hand planning, and it is one of the final pieces in our series on basic Declare Play of the Hand. Let's get ourselves started. We've been talking about being a declarer in a trump contract. And we've spent several lessons talking about the planning that goes into it. So let's revisit the planning that we know so far. We started with the concept of first thoughts. Well, what does that mean? That means that the minute that the opening lead is made and the dummy comes down, you as declarer should take a deep breath and ask yourself two questions. Now, those questions are, how many tricks do I need to make my contract? And how many tricks can I afford to lose and still make my contract? Those are important questions to ask yourself right away up front. It will settle your mind. It will get your brain moving forward in a direction that you need to go. Now, the next thing that we've talked about so far is step 2, and that is win an early reasonable trick. So whenever possible, you want to try and win trick 1, right, declarers? You want to get right away started on the actions you have to take to successfully play out this hand. Now, can you win trick 1? You want to ask yourself and look at both sides of the table and see if that's possible. If you can win trick 1, if you have multiple choices about how to do so, does it matter which card you use to win trick 1? If you cannot win trick 1, can you figure out, looking at the opening lead, looking at your hand and dummy's hand, how soon you think you would be able to win a trick? Again, you want to get started on your plan. You need to get control of the hand. Now, once you have won your first early reasonable trick, we are moving on to your real first task as declarer, and that is pulling the opponent's trump from them. Do not allow the opponents at this point in your bridge career to keep trump in their hand. Even if you don't have all the high trump, you want to pull trump. You need to get the kids off the street. What you don't want is to be surprised later as you're playing the hand by an errant trump card in the opponent's hand. You don't want them to have any trump remaining. You want it all out of their hands right away. And if you don't have the highest trump card, that's still okay. Still pull trump, even if it means you lose. Just get the trump out of their hands. Now, after you have pulled trump, we come to the most involved section of your work as a declarer. We've talked the last number of lessons on how to develop your side suits, your non-trump suits, in order to earn the extra and necessary tricks you need to actually make your contract. We've talked about 3 declare techniques, and those techniques are establishing a long suit, promoting suits, and using the simple finesse. All 3 techniques are intended to help you try and earn and create extra tricks. Now, once you've done all that hard work, the final step is the fun one. You get to take your remaining shore winners. So that's the plan that we've learned up to this point. Now, there's one more piece that we're adding in today. Today's focus is to add an extra piece to the first thoughts section, and that is a concept called counting losers. What am I talking about? Counting losers. There is a specific process that we need to use before we even choose whether we're going to establish length or promote or use a simple finesse. We have to know before we even choose one of those options where our problems are. And so as part of the first thoughts section, we want to include the concept of counting losers. And you do this step after you've asked yourself the 2 important questions, right? How many tricks do I need to make my contract? How many can I afford to lose and still make my contract? And then you're going to walk through the concept of counting losers, because you know now how many losers you can afford. Now you have to figure out how many losers you have. Now, why didn't we study this earlier in this series? Why didn't we learn this concept during our first week of exploring declarer planning? Well, one of the reasons was because you needed to know where the road was actually heading. You needed to have a sense of context about the entire process. This piece, this counting losers piece, is a kind of a very specific and very important piece. But if we got bogged down in it earlier, it would have been harder for you to absorb the rest of the planning process. And another reason that goes along with that is this. It's really helpful for you to know what development techniques are. What is it to establish a long suit? What does it mean to promote a suit? What does it mean to run a simple finesse? Knowing those things first will help you now that we start to count losers. Having an idea of what the techniques actually are will help us solve problems. Here's why. Now, when we do the counting losers piece and you say to yourself, oh yes, I have 2 losers in the club suit, your brain will immediately go into, oh, but look at that suit. It's finessable because you already know about development techniques. So the idea of learning the techniques first to solve problems will help you more strongly, will help you better now, once you're able to now say, well, what are my problems? So counting losers, what are losers? They are liabilities. They are problems that you have. They're holes in suits. They're places where you don't have an outright winner. What you're going to do after the opening lead is made and the dummy comes down is you're going to look at your declare hand and you're going to look at dummy's hand. And in each suit by suit, both sides of the table, you're going to determine whether or not you can win a trick and whether or not you can win a trick after that and the one after that. What I mean by that is, let's say that you look over at your club suit and you look in your hand, the declare hand, and you look at the dummy hand across the table. Well, winning a trick in clubs means you hold the ace of clubs. Boom, winner, ace of clubs. If you hold the ace and king of clubs, 2 winners, right? That's what I mean by winning trick after trick. And you want to do that until you can no longer win a trick. If you have the ace of clubs and the king of clubs, and then you have the 4 of clubs, well, you have 2 winners, but the 4 of clubs might not. It might, the winning journey might stop there. You want to determine if you can win trick after trick in a suit and where that winning trick after trick stops. Because if you cannot keep winning trick after trick after trick for the amount of cards you have in that suit, then you have problems. You have liabilities. And we want to solve problems in trump contracts very often either using one of the development techniques that we learned or using our trump suit. We'll still have some trump remaining after we pull trump. And so we want to solve problems either through one of the development techniques or using our extra trump on those problems. We count losers in trump contracts because we have ways to solve losers. Down the road, when we get to no trump contracts, we will count winners and see how that works. Now, a really difficult thing for a lot of players to wrap their heads around is that they're going to have to think about primarily 13 cards and not the full 26 you can see between declare and dummy's hands. I mean, yes, you can see 26 cards, but you're only focusing on 13 cards primarily. You have to play 13 tricks, right? So what you're trying to figure out is you're trying to identify from one side of the table only how many of those 13 cards, those 13 tricks you'll play, will actually take winning tricks, right? That's the question. And you're going to primarily focus your attention on 13 cards only. So the opening lead is made on your left. Your partner puts the dummy on the table. Your first task is to gather your first thoughts. Now, up to now, we've said that your first thoughts are made up of how many tricks you can take that you need to take to make your contract, how many tricks you can afford to lose. And now we're adding in a final piece here. We're going to add in the piece of counting your losers before you even consider if you can win an early reasonable trick. So how do we do this? We're going to look at the 13 cards on one side of the table only, and specifically, we're looking at 13 cards on the side of the table that has a longer trump holding. Let's say that you and your partner are in 4 spades, and you are south and you are declare. You and your partner bid up to 4 spades, don't know how, but you did. But if you, in fact, opened 1 spade, you would have had 5 spade cards, right? So you and your partner in 4 spades, and with an 8-card spade fit, you on your side of the table in south are holding 5 spade cards. Your partner in north has 3 spade cards. Therefore, south is the longer trump side of the table with 5 cards. Now, if your trump distribution is 4 and 4 instead of 5 and 3, you're still going to choose which side of the table on which you want to count only 13 cards. I still like to count on Declare's side of the table because Declare's hand is right in front of me. It's the hand I see right up front in front of me, and it's just easier for me to work with. Now, as you're looking at those 13 cards on one side of the table, each of those cards is either an outright winner. What's an outright winner? An ace. What are 2 outright winners? An ace and a king in the same suit. Or that card in your hand is part of a winning combination, meaning by itself, it doesn't win anything. It's not high enough. But if you do look across the table to dummy, remember, you're going to have to follow suit. The card in dummy that would go for the ride with this card from Declarer is a winning card. It's a high card. And therefore, the card in your hand, in Declarer's hand, while not big by itself, is going to link up with a winning card across the table and be part of a winning combination. Now, if the card in your Declarer hand that you're looking at is not an outright winner and it's not part of a winning combo, then it's a loser. All right, and you're counting losers. And this is going to be easy, right? No, it's not. It's going to take you some time to learn how to do this. Trust me. Now, consider when you play a card from both your Declarer hand and the dummy's hand, it's a little bit like 2 people getting on a scooter or a bicycle, a tandem bicycle together, okay? Think about it that way. So you play a card from your Declarer hand, and then you have to play a card from dummy's hand. Now, you're following suit if you can, but if you can't, you would be discarding a card from one side of the table onto a card you've already led, right? So you're on this little scooter ride together. One person is driving the scooter and one person is going along for the ride. True? Well, it's kind of like that. Your bridge tricks have something in common with these scooter bicycle riders. Declare and dummy are going to pair 2 cards together on each trick, riding the scooter together. Now, usually, again, you identify the outcome of your 13 Declare cards, that hand that's right in front of your face. And for each card in Declare's hand, you're going to think, well, what dummy card will I pair with it? Which dummy card is getting in the scooter with me in my Declare hand, and which Declare hand, so they can go riding off together? Who's driving the pair? The Declare card or the dummy card? You got it? Driving? So you get that? Scooters, bicycles? Yeah, cute, huh? All right, so you're counting your losers and you're looking at your Declare cards, 13 Declare cards, right? You're identifying the status of your 13 Declare cards. Now, each of the 13 cards is either an outright winner. Again, what is an outright winner? It's the ace. It's the ace king in the same suit are 2 outright winners. It's a high-ranking card in Declare's hand capable of winning the trick right now. And then the dummy's card is just going to go for the ride. The dummy's card is going to be lower ranking. It's going to be the passenger in the scooter going along for the ride. So therefore, your Declarer's card, high enough to win the trick, is an outright winner. Now, it's not an outright winner. It's possible that it's part of a winning combination. And that would mean that your Declarer's card is lower ranking. It's not going to be an outright winner. It's not going to win the trick. And it needs a little help if it is going to win a trick, or if it's going to be part of a winning situation, by looking across the table at dummy's hand to see if dummy has a high-ranking card that is an outright winner right now. So when you play the declare card and you put a dummy card on it, and that dummy card is an outright winner, then your declare card is going along for the ride. The dummy's card is the driver of the scooter in that case, and dummy's card is just on the road with it. But it still means that your declare's lower ranking card goes in a winning pile when you add up your tricks, right? Even though it wasn't the winner, it was along for the ride as part of a winning combination with a dummy card, and the two of them go in the winners column, right? Now, if it's not an outright winner, the declare card you're looking at, and that declare card is not part of a winning combo with dummy, then it's going to be a loser. And what that means is that your declares card is low, is not going to take a winning trick by itself, and it needs help from dummy. But when you look across at dummy, dummy's card that you're going to play with it is also lower ranking. It's not going to be a winner and cannot help your declares card. Neither card can dominate this trick, and therefore the trick is going to lose for you. And this declare card is therefore a loser. So each of your 13 declare cards are going to take one of these three exits on the scooter. Outright winner, part of a winning combination, so both of those go in a winner's column eventually, or it's a loser. In that case, it's not going to win anything, right? So let's look at a suit together. Let's say in this diamond suit, we want to take a look at the three cards on declare's side of the table. And I'm going to start with the ace here, because it is an outright winner, isn't it? It's going to win the trick, boom, right now. Now, that ace of diamonds is a winner. What are you going to play on it in dummy? You're going to put the three of diamonds with it, right? The declare's high-ranking honor, the ace, is winning the trick. It's driving the scooter, and dummy's three of diamonds is just going along for the ride, okay? But declare's ace is an outright winner right now. Then let's look at the king. Because you held the ace, the king is also an outright winner right now in declare's hand. And when you play that king, you're going to pair dummy's four of diamonds with it, right? Now, that means that declare's high-ranking king wins the trick right now, is driving the scooter, and dummy's four is just going to go along for the ride, right? But you've just had two outright winners in declarer's diamond hand. Now, declare only has one more diamond left, the 7. It is a low-ranking card. By itself, it looks like a losing trick, doesn't it? But remember, you have to stop and look across the table. Can you get help from dummy to avoid having that 7 be a loser, right? And when you look across at dummy, you see that dummy has the queen of diamonds. Now, since you own the ace of diamonds and the king of diamonds, that makes dummy's queen of diamonds the very next winner. Dummy's queen of diamonds is the next outright winner. And so while the 7 in declare's hand is not going to win the trick, it will change its status now from loser looking to being part of a winning combination with North's queen of diamonds. The 7 is going to go along for the ride with the winning queen of diamonds. And that means the 7 of diamonds in South's declare hand is going to go in the winning column. Even though the 7 itself isn't the winner, it's part of a winning combo, and you're going to put it in the winners column to tally up your winners. Does that make kind of sense? All right. Now, you're not worrying about the extra diamond in North's dummy. It's going to go for a ride on something in South's hand and declare's hand at some point. You only care about the 3 cards in South's declare hand. And when you win the ace and the king, and then you put the 7 on the queen, and that also wins, you have won 3 declare diamond tricks. And after the 3rd round of diamonds in declarer's hand, if anybody else plays a diamond, in theory, declarer will still have trump cards, hopefully, to be able to trump a 4th round. And therefore, when you look at declare's diamond hand here, we say declare has no diamond losers. No losers. The ace will win, the king will win, the 7 will be part of a winning combo with the queen, and then declare can trump the suit if he wants to. All right, so let's look at an entire hand together. This is the sample hand in your packet. Let's see if we can put all the pieces together of declare planning while we add in this new thing. Now, I'm going to tell you that South is the declare in a 4-heart contract. How you got there, who knows? Who cares? you're there. You have to take 10 winning tricks, right? The opening lead is the Queen of Spades by West. West is also promising the Jack of Spades. So, gathering your first thoughts. If you're in 4 Hearts South, you must take 10 tricks to make this contract, and you can afford 3 losing tricks. That's the piece we've done all along. But now, knowing we can afford 3 losers, we have to do this next new piece. We need to count the losers that South has and compare it against how many we're allowed to have to still make the contract. So let's count the losers in South's declare hand. Now, I like to start with the side suits. So I'm going to start with the club suit. And in South's club suit, I can see the ace of clubs. Now, the ace of clubs is an outright natural winner, isn't it? Boom. If they play the club suit right now, boom, you win it. So I'm not worried about the ace. All right. Then what else do I have in South's club suit? Well, I have the queen and the jack. Now, those are 2 honor cards, but neither one of those is the king of clubs, is it? So let me just look across the table to North, and let me just see if North has the king of clubs. And when I do that, there's no king of clubs in North, is there? Well, here's the problem, I think. I think the problem is that since East and West, one of them, owns the king of clubs, I might have to play, let's say, the queen of clubs and lose it to East or West's king of clubs. Now, unless I, South, can figure out a way to not lose that queen of clubs to their king, unless I can figure out a way to turn even the queen and the jack into winners, those 2 lower honors, I'm going to lose one of those honors to East-West's king of clubs, aren't I? And that would give me 1 club loser, if that's true. My brain is already starting to think, I wonder if I've learned a technique that might help me turn the queen and the jack of clubs potentially into winners. My brain is already working on that. But right now, what South has to say to herself is, until I figure out exactly what I might do with that club suit, I have to assume that I'm going to bravely have to give one of those club honors away to East or West and let them win their king of clubs with one of my club honors. All right, so that doesn't bode well right now for one of those club honors. Now, what about the other club card in South? That's the 5 of clubs. That 5 of clubs, right now it's a losing card, right? You would look at North and say, I still don't have the king. I couldn't play it on a winning honor. I still don't have the king. What are you going to do with it? Well, it's possible, because you will run out of clubs, that you could trump it in North, right? But here's one of the problems with that thinking. You do not know yet how many rounds of trump you're absolutely going to have to play to pull the opponent's trump from them. And while, yes, there is a sort of a standard that you lean toward when you know that they have 5 trump and you have 8, you shouldn't put that right in the book yet. You should say to yourself, I'm not quite sure. I'll still have heart trump in North later. We'll have to see. So right now, just so that I can keep my mental bookkeeping clean, I'm going to count that 5 of clubs as a loser, and then I will have to figure out if I can get rid of it in some way. And so, because I think I'm going to think about the 5 of clubs as a loser right now, and I'm going to think about either the queen or the jack as having to give up to the East or West king, I'm going to count myself as 2 club losers right now. Now, I might be able to come up with a plan to reduce that number, but right now I need to know where I stand. And where I stand is, I think I'm going to lose the 5 of clubs to the opponents, and I think I'm going to have to lose one of those lower honors in clubs to the opponent's king of clubs. Boom, 2 club losers. All right, now let me talk about the next suit, which is the diamond suit. The diamond suit in South's hand has the 5 of diamonds. Well, by itself, that doesn't look so good, right? So I'm going to look across the table. And across the table, I see the ace of diamonds. That's an outright winner, isn't it? So therefore, my 5 of diamonds is going to go for a ride in the scooter while North's ace is driving the scooter. My 5 of diamonds is going to be part of a winning combination. No, it isn't the winner. But when I tally my winners and losers, this trick combo, the 5 and the ace, are going to go in the winning pile, right? So this 5 of diamonds is going to be part of a winning combination. It's going to go in the winner's column. Yay. Now, what about the other diamond in South's hand? I have the 7 of diamonds. Same problem. It's not an outright winner, is it? It looks like a loser, but I look across the table. And in addition to the ace of diamonds, I have the king of diamonds. That's the next outright winner, isn't it? So my 7 of diamonds is going to go for a ride with the outright winning king of diamonds in North's dummy hand. Gee, that means that both of my declared diamonds are part of winning combinations, and they're going to both go into the winners column when I tally up my winning tricks. Now, that also means that in theory, South would be able to trump the diamond suit if anybody else plays a diamond after 2 rounds, where I win both rounds with one of North's cards. Maybe. Now, I've already talked about trumping clubs a minute ago. I'm now talking about maybe trumping diamonds. There's only so much extra trump that's going to go around. And that's why you don't automatically assume that you could be trumping cards after you've run out of them in your hand. You're going to have to think it through and decide which cards you will trump. But the takeaway here is this. When you look at South's diamond cards, you don't have any diamond losers. Both of South's diamond cards are going to be part of winning combinations. They're going to go in the winner's column. In theory, you would be able to trump diamonds after 2 rounds in South's declare hand, in theory. But when you play those 2 diamonds, they're both going to be part of winning combinations. So no diamond losers. Let's move on to the other side suit. Let's move on to the spade side suit. Now, in the spade suit, how many losers do we have? We're only looking at South's 3 spades. Well, first of all, South has the ace and the king of spades. Those are 2 outright winners. Yay. Good job, South. But then we also have to look at the 7 of spades. Now, what are you going to do with the 7 of spades? It doesn't look so great, does it? It doesn't have a high value. It's not going to win the next trick. The queen of spades is the next winner, and that's not it. So what you need to do is look across the table. Do you have the queen of spades across the table? And the answer is no. So the 7 of spades does not have a ride across the table with a winning queen of spades in North. You're going to have to play a spade in North, but it's going to be low. Therefore, the 7 of spades in South's hand is a losing trick. You cannot win a 3rd spade trick right now at this point. Oh boy. Okay. Now we still have one more suit to look at, and that's the trump suit, the heart suit. South, you have 8 trump cards. The opponents have 5. Yes, the most likely split is 3-2, and yes, you're going to play for that likelihood. Okay. Now you look closely at this heart suit, and what you should notice immediately is that you are missing the ace of trump. And there's absolutely no way around missing the ace of trump. There's no way to eliminate that loser. You are going to have to give up one of the honors to East-West's ace of hearts. All right. So even if when you do that, you will still end up with middle honors that will be good, right? This looks like a promotable suit to me. You're missing the highest card, but you have the middle honor cards right underneath it. You're going to have to give up one of the honors to East-West ace, but then you are going to have honors in a row, and you will still be able to pull trump from the opponents. So I think you have one heart loser. In fact, I know you have one heart loser. There's no way around missing the ace of trump. So here's where we are. You need 10 tricks and 4 hearts. You can afford 3 losers. We've counted 4 losers. You have 1 spade loser because you don't have the queen of spades. You have 1 heart loser because you're missing the ace of trump. You have no diamond losers in South's hand. They both are part of winning combos. And when you get to clubs, you're just not sure how that's going to work out. That 5 of clubs definitely looks like a loser to me. And one of those club lower honors, the queen or the jack, is probably going to have to be lost to the king. At least that's your thinking right now. And that would give you 2 club losers. So right now you have 4 losers, and that's 1 loser too many because you can afford 3 losers. So south, this is where you're going to have to start thinking about how to use your development techniques to eliminate at least 1 loser in south's hand. So before you call a single card from dummy, before you win your first reasonable trick, just think holistically for a minute. Since you know your first task after you win your first trick is going to be pull trump, can you win trump easily from the opponents? No, not without losing to their ace. Should you still pull trump? Yes, absolutely. You only want to lose 1 trick to them, the ace. Then after you do the trump work, you're going to develop side suits. Let's see what you think you might have to work with. Do you have a promotable suit? Well, you do, but it happens to be the heart trump suit. So you're going to be pulling trump and promoting in 1 step. Are any of the other suits promotable? No. No other suit has like missing the ace, but holding the king, queen, jack. Nothing like that. Okay, so you don't have another promotable suit. Do you have a long, long suit, meaning 7 or more cards? Well, no, not outside the trump suit. So you don't have length. All right, the third technique is the simple finesse. Do you have a simple finesse? Now look carefully, because I think you do. I think your club suit has the possibility of creating extra tricks through a simple finesse. You are missing a middle card in an honor sandwich. All right, so here's what I think we ought to do on this hand. It seems to be we want to win an early reasonable trick. We want to promote the heart suit, forcing out their ace, and then remembering to pull all the rest of the trump when we can. And then this development technique we're going to use is the finesse on the club suit. Now, when I look at the club suit, I see the club gap, where the missing card would sit. That gap is in south's hand. The ace, missing the next card, the king, then holding the next honors, queen, jack. That's where the gap is between the ace and the queen of clubs. And therefore, when we play a finesse, we start across the table from the gap. So south will have to start the club finesse in north's hand. And what south is hoping for is that all 3 of south's club honors win a trick. If that's true, then south won't lose the ace, the queen, or the jack of clubs, and will eliminate that club honor that we were worried about, where we were going to have to give one of those middle honors to their king. That would eliminate that if this finesse works. Only way to find out is to try it. So here we go. All right, 4 of hearts by south. Opening lead is the queen of spades. So south, can you win the first early reasonable trick? I think the answer to that is yes. I think you can play the spade, low spade in north, and then play your king of spades in south, or the ace, but I'm going to play the king. All right, fantastic. You won the first reasonable trick. You finished step 1, which were your first thoughts that you asked yourself questions and counted losers, and step 2, winning an early reasonable trick. So now we're on to step 3 in our plan, and that's pulling the opponent's trump. So here we go. You're going to have to be brave. You're missing the ace of hearts, and there's no way around that, right? You're going to have a loser, but you're prepared for this. You counted your losers, and that was the only heart loser. And therefore, that's the only heart loser you want to lose. Here's the problem for you, South. You've got to pull trump even without the high loser, the high winner, excuse me. And the reason is this: if you become fraidy scared and you go after other suits instead of pulling trump because you're afraid to lose, you're still going to lose the ace of hearts. At some point in this hand, they're going to win their ace of hearts. It's an outright winner for them. But because you go and play other suits, they're going to have the opportunity of trumping you with a second heart trump. So they'll get a trump card against you and the ace of hearts, and you're not expecting that. They only deserve one heart winner, the ace. So don't let them lose more than that. Don't let them win more than that. You shouldn't lose more than that. So let's go ahead and lose it. You're going to promote this heart suit while pulling trump. Here we go. Trick 2. Since you won the last trick in South's hand, and notice I have grayed out the first trick and made them smaller to make it easier to see what's left. On trick 2, you're going to lead a low heart, the 3, from South, and you're going to play North's king. Now, I'm going to tell you that East and West are going to duck this trick. They're going to play low. They do not take their ace. Why? Well, honestly, why should they? The ace of trump is good until the very last trick on the hand. They can see the promotable hearts in North, right? What they're trying to do by not taking their ace, and even though you want them to get it over with, they're trying to rattle you, declare, right? They're trying to get you to think, what's happening? What's happening? Why aren't they playing the ace? What they ultimately want you to do is make some kind of mistake. And I have seen this. I have absolutely seen, especially beginner players, not get the ace right away that they were like counting on. They want them to play the ace. So it's out of the way. But then East-West don't do it. And what I've watched beginners do is stop pulling trump. They go off to another suit and they start playing other suits. And then they get trumped with a low trump by the opponents. And then the opponents still get their ace. No, you're going to have to be brave, because here's what East and West have just done for you, South. They, by playing low, have made your king of hearts a winner. Right now, they have promoted your king of hearts to a winner right here on trick 2. So you still have to be brave. You're not done. You're up to trick 3. You should lead the queen of hearts. Now, let's say that East and West do play their ace. In fact, let's say East plays the ace of hearts right now. Why? Maybe East has no choice. Maybe it's the only remaining heart East has. Why? Maybe East wants you to forget that there might still be another heart card out in East and West's hand, right? They still might try to confuse you. Because on the last trick, both opponents played a heart. They just played low. On this trick, both opponents are playing a heart. One of them's playing the ace. That's 4 of the missing 5 hearts. There's still a heart out against you in either opponent's hand. You're going to have to remember that, right? In any case, East is going to win trick 3 with the ace of trump. But South, you got to remember, there's still a 5th heart out in one of their hands. But now East is on lead. East, you know that your partner in West started this whole hand on opening lead with the spade suit, right? Honestly, primarily, your job, if you ever get the lead and your partner was the opening leader, is to help your partner's suit. You should lead back your partner's opening lead suit. On trick 3, I think East should lead a spade. Now, when East leads a spade, East does not think that West has the unplayed major, the ace of spades. East does not think that. How does East know that West's opening lead hand is not holding the ace of spades? Can you put that together? Let's think it this way. West led the queen of spades, top of touching honors, right? That means that West definitely has the jack of spades if West is leading correctly. But it also means that East is remembering that South won trick 1, all the way back on trick 1 with the king of spades. Where's the ace of spades? Not in West's hand. East knows that, because when you make an opening lead, you are saying to your partner, I have cards in this suit, but I absolutely do not have the ace in the suit I'm making the opening lead with. That is an accepted defense rule. On opening lead, when the opponent leads a suit, that suit is not topped by the ace of that suit, not against a trump contract. West's opening lead of the queen of spades says, yes, I have the jack of spades, but I certainly don't have the king. If I'd had the king, I would have led king from king, queen, top of touching honors. And because I'm leading this suit, I'm also telling you, East, I do not own the ace in this suit. You'll have to go elsewhere to find it. Therefore, and if you don't remember all that, remember there's an opening lead PDF and video you can watch again. But therefore, East is saying to himself, you know what? I'm going to lead my partner's opening lead spade suit. I know that West does not have the ace. I know that South must have it. And therefore, I want South to win this trick. Why? Because East can see that North, the dummy, the one everyone can see, still has spades in it. And what East is trying to do is force South to play the ace of spades now, get it out of the way, and that might allow West to win a spade trick or 2 even later. So East is trying to help West set up a trick or 2 in spades later, right? East is being a good partner. But yes, on trick 4, South should win this with the ace of spades taking back the lead. Now we're up to trick 5. South, do you remember there's still a heart out against you, a heart trump? Yeah. So on trick 5, you should leave the 5 of hearts to North's jack and pull the final trump from the opponents. So now we've done step 3, pull the opponent's trump. Now that we've pulled the opponent's trump from them, it is time to move on to step 4 in our plan. We're going to develop side suits. Now, earlier, we identified that there was a simple finesse in the club suit. So now, after we've pulled trump, it's time to attack those clubs. The finesse in clubs needs to start in North. It needs to start across from the club gap. Now, the club gap is the place where the king, the missing king of clubs, would fit so neatly in place if we had him. Now you have the ace of clubs in South and you have the queen of clubs in South. If you owned the king, he would be nestled nicely there between the ace and the queen. So he's missing from that spot. That's the gap. So we want to start across the table from that gap to begin the club finesse. Now the good news is we have won the last trick in North with the jack of hearts to pull that last round of trump. So now we're on trick 6. And on trick 6, we will begin the finesse by leading North's 3 of clubs towards the gap in South's hand. This forces East, the next opponent, to commit to a club card right now. You're putting East in the hot seat. You're forcing East to think fast. What is East going to do? Well, East, whether you have the missing king of clubs or not, you should play low, and you should play low smoothly. Don't give anything away, right? You don't want South to know whether you actually have the king or not. You want to rattle South a little bit if you can, and you'll do that if you play nice and smoothly a low card. But South shouldn't get rattled. South, you have a job to do here. And your job is to try and turn lower ranking honors into winners. So what you have to do now, South, after East plays low, is take a deep breath and put in one of those lower ranking honors. Let's assume it's the queen of clubs. And when you do that, you then hope. Now, what are you hoping for? What you're hoping for is that West, the opponent who will play after you play the queen, you are hoping that West does not have the missing king of clubs. If West has it, West is going to play it. West wants to play it. West wants to capture that queen you just played, doesn't want to allow you to win a trick. But what if I said that West plays low? Well, that means West does not have the king of clubs. Believe me, West would play it. West is not going to let you win an honor unnecessarily. When West plays low, South is thrilled. This club finesse just worked. And South has cemented a lower level club winner. West also knows something else. West knows that East is holding the king of clubs and played low. South knows that that missing king of clubs is sitting in East's hand. So now what South wants to do is cement the other lower ranking club honor in her hand, the jack. How does she do that? She doesn't lead the jack. No. She needs to get back to North. And when she gets back to North, she wants to finesse again through East, the player with that missing king of clubs. It will force East to commit to a club card and will give South options after East plays. So how is South going to get back to North? South needs transportation, right? South needs to lead the 5 of diamonds and put the ace of diamonds up in North. Now, this ace of diamonds is an outright winner, was always a winner, but you didn't play it earlier. You waited until you needed it during the play of the hand. And this is one of those times when you need your sure winners. Yes, this ace of diamonds was always going to win a trick, but you waited and strategically won it when you needed it. In this case, it was to get you from one side of the table to the other side of the table. That is what transportation means. And so now on trick 7, East transports herself back into North's hand to finesse again. So that means on trick 8, South should lead the 4 of clubs. And this is going to force East to make a decision. Now, East, you absolutely should play low. Do not help South in any way, East. If you play that king of clubs, South is absolutely going to play the ace and capture it. But if you play low smoothly again, you might still rattle South. I have watched beginner players now play the ace of clubs in South. That's not what you should do here, South. South, when East plays low, South, you need to play the jack of clubs, that lower honor. Remember, this is all about turning those 2 lower honors in the club suit in South's hand into winners. And when that jack of clubs does win the trick, what has just happened, South, is you have eliminated one of your club losers. All 3 of your club honors in your South hand have won tricks. Now, you were expecting the ace to win a trick, and you're going to do that in a minute. But you were worried that you were going to have to give either the queen or the jack up to East-West's king of clubs. But by finessing, initially, you figured out who had the king, and it did work. And then you went back to North and finessed through that player again. If East had played the king, you easily would have captured it with the ace, and then your jack would have been good. When East played low, you have to bravely try that lower honor again. It should win. It should be East who's holding that king. So now you've just eliminated your club loser. You had 2, and now you've reduced it to 1. Okay? Now, since that club finesse worked and you gained an extra trick, in fact, the trick you needed to make your contract, now you can take your remaining winners. You're going to go after any promoted or finessed or sure winners. And you can do this a couple of ways on this hand. Here is my suggestion. We're up to trick 9. And if I were South, I would cash that ace of clubs, which was always a winner, but I don't want to forget it. So I'm going to cash that ace of clubs right now. And I think what I'm going to do is discard a spade in North. You could easily discard a diamond in North. That would be fine. But I'm going to discard a spade because I happen to like to void suits where I can on one side of the table. So that's trick 9. And now we get ourselves to trick 10. If I'm on trick 10, I am probably going to lead the 7 of diamonds over to the winning king of diamonds in North. That was always a trick that was due to me. That was a sure winner. Let's move on to trick 11. We are in North's hand. Now, when you look at what's left, yes, there are 3 tricks left. You have a heart trump in North. You have the 2 diamond cards in North's hand. When you look at South's hand, I see a spade card that's not a winner, right? A spade loser. I see another heart trump winner. And I see that 5 of clubs that we had labeled as a loser earlier. Now, how do you want to play out this hand? I want to be able to win those 2 heart trump cards, the 10 of hearts and the 7 of hearts, as separate winners. If you now in North lead the 10 of hearts, you will have to play the 7 in South, and you will play 2 heart trump cards on one trick. But I'm starting to see a way that I could play those 2 heart cards separately. So here's what I would do. I'm in North's hand. I have diamonds in North hands, and I do not have diamonds in South's hand. I'm void in diamonds in South. I'm going to lead one of those losing diamonds in North, the 2 of diamonds, and I'm going to trump it in South with the 7 of hearts, a trump card. And this is called a cross ruff. This is when you play a suit from one side of the table to the other side where you are void in that suit, and you use one trump card to win that trick. You're not using both remaining trump cards, you're using one of them. And because it's a trump, it wins the trick. And that's what's going to happen here. You get to win trick 11 in South with the 7 of hearts, right? Well, that was so much fun. How about we do it again? You're in South's hand. There's that losing 5 of clubs we identified earlier. What if we lead that 5 of clubs now and we put the other winning trump card from North, the winning 10 of hearts on it? That 10 of hearts wins the trick, and it's a separate winner from the other trump card we had a minute ago, 2 separate winners. This is also a cross ruff. We led the club suit from South. We were void in clubs in North. We were able to use our remaining heart trump to win trick 12. Now, what does that leave us with? Well, we're in North. South, you're going to have to leave the only card that's left in North. That's the 8 of diamonds. And I'm going to tell you that East probably still has the Queen of Diamonds, still sitting on a diamond winner. I think East is going to win trick 13. Now, we started this hand with 4 losers, 1 spade, 1 heart, 2 clubs. We did not play our sure winners in diamonds and spades early. We kept them to use along the way. We needed them along the way to regain the lead and to get us transportation from one side of the table to the other. What did we do? Well, South, yay, you finessed the club suit twice, and that got you an extra low ranking winner. You were able to make both the Queen and the Jack winners. And since you counted one of those lower ranking honor cards as a loser to start with, potentially, by being able to turn them both into winners, you eliminated the club loser amount. You went from 2 potential club losers to just 1 club loser, potentially. And even that you turned into a winner because you trumped that 5 of clubs, didn't you? Yeah, you made it part of the winning combo. Nice. Now, if you only have 3 losers because you eliminated a club loser, you should be able to make 4 hearts, right? But then you did something smart, South. You stretched the winning potential. You did not lead one of your heart trump on one of the last tricks. If you did that, you would have had to follow suit. No. Instead, you looked at what you had left and you played a suit from one side of the table where you were void on the other, and you cross-ruffed. You used 1 heart trump on a voided suit. And then you did it again. You led from that side of the table to an area where you were void on the other side, and you used a trump trick. And by doing that, you even gained 1 more winner. So instead of winning 10 tricks that you needed, you actually won 11 tricks, didn't you? You lost 1 heart trick to East-West's ace of trump on trick 3. And then on trick 13, yes, you had to give a spade to West's Jack. Those are the only 2 tricks you lost. You took 11 tricks instead of the 10. You made 5 instead of 4. You won an over trick. Fantastic. An over trick is when you win 1 trick more than you needed to. Now, how did you do following along? Look, you're not supposed to get all this. We're just opening the door. We just want you to see that there is a path. And I'm promising you this is going to take you a bunch of time. It absolutely will. This doesn't come early. It doesn't come easy. But there is a path. And you should start thinking about having those steps in front of you when you're declaring to try and work it through, okay? This counting losers piece is extremely important. And yes, we didn't do it till the end for a reason. We wanted you to know that when you identified a problem, ooh, look, there's a loser, you would then be able to follow up and say, but wait a minute. That looks like a promotable suit. You would already have some tools in place. All right. This is one of the most important skills when you are the declarer in a trump contract, is to be able to count losers, because what it will do is help you to start to see the path that you have to follow to turn it around, to make sure you can try and make your contract. So you're going to have questions, right? I know you are. Take a look at your packet, work through some of the rest of the examples if you can, see if you can figure those out. Send me questions if you have them, and I'll see you on class day. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.